We're dirt farming. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Yeah, doing the tractor hours this week. We rented ourselves a tractor and a heavy offset disc, and we are in the oat field. We're getting that broke up, and yeah, a whole lot of back and forth, but let's get it done. Alright, so I'll give you a little rundown of the rig we're driving today. We have a New Holland 9282. It's a 300 horsepower tractor, I believe. And what we're pulling with it is we are pulling a 22-foot Farm King double offset disc. So this disc here, you can see it's just kind of flipping up the quads. Here's a few spots, I guess, where it doesn't really flip much over, but to give you an idea of how deep we're going, you can here, look on the edge here. And yeah, we're cutting in about 2.5 inches. I imagine on the far side of the field where it's a little bit more moist, they were probably going in about 3, maybe 3.5. But you know, taking the sod like that and just kind of flipping it, or at least turning it on edge, and you can see how dry it is, though. It just falls apart. So yeah, we go at it at a 45 now, that's straight, so we can kind of come across these lumps again and chop them up, and yeah, that'll eventually make a field. So breaking this heavy soddy grassland up is something that we've experimented with the last couple of years. What works best, what doesn't. Roundup is your best friend here. Spraying these fields dead loosens that roots mass, and otherwise I don't think you could do it. But this one here, I think actually growing a crop in this sod, even though it wasn't a great crop, that different root structure growing in that sod just helped to kind of break it up a little bit. And obviously being really dry, it's kind of breaking up too. Being too dry is not always the best. Obviously being too wet is not good either. But yeah, a little closer look at this. It's an 8700 Farm King heavy offset, double offset disc. So let's find a spot to strap you guys on here for a round, and let's pray to God that you don't fall off and end up in the field. Okay guys, I'm having to do some voiceover work here because I pulled a YouTube no-no. I was in the tractor cab there talking away, explaining what's going on, and I left the radio on, so you can't do that stuff. But anyways, Chris Slane and the marvels of editing will overlay this commentary with the video. So yeah, what we're doing here is we're breaking up the oat field and just going back and forth and back and forth. So for me, long hours in the tractor cab are not the norm. I mean, I do some with wrapping bales and hauling bales, but that's a little bit more involved. You know, change of pace, going from the field to the road to the yard to unload. But this just monotonous up and down, back and forth is good and bad. This tractor we're driving does have GPS, but it's not hooked up. There was a whole nest of wires underneath the console that I didn't feel like messing with, so I'm freehanding the whole thing, which probably is a good thing because at least will keep me awake. And I was impressed. I kept my lines pretty straight. But as you're watching the video, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of cows in the background. Those are not our cows. So the land, we actually this piece of land here, we grew the oats, we're renting from High Life. High Life is a corporation that is big into hogs. So around our area they have lots of barns, but with those barns come land, some good land, some poor land. And so the poorer land is all fenced and the cattle graze it. This particular field they were always cutting hay on, and it is also fenced. Every once in a while they would graze it. And in behind here some marginal land that they'd moved the cows onto late this summer because pastures were getting pretty thin around here, so they put the cows in there. And I talked to the manager of the ranch, the High Life Division JV Ranch, that's the ranch they run. And I talked to him and said, hey, if you guys want, I'm done with the oats. There's a little bit of regrowth. You can go ahead and throw your cows on there just to graze it off. And they seem to be pretty keen to do that. So the cows are on here, and didn't bother moving them off because there was no real need to. As I'm going back and forth the tractor, a couple of the cows came up close, and then the last minute would kind of jump run out of the way. And a few of the calves would walk onto the sod that I turned. And the first day, they didn't know what the heck that was. So that was pretty funny to watch. But yeah, the cows grazed it off, and that really helped actually for breaking up the land. That little bit of material on top is gone, so it's almost like a putting green. It's so thin there, so it was very nice to break up. There's no extra residue on top for me to worry about. Yeah, so with High Life and JV Ranch, they run quite a few cows, and I actually worked there for 9 months before we started the dairy. I needed a little bit of an in-between job to occupy my time, and the ranch is actually 2 miles south of where we farm now, so I got to work there. And in total, they calve out about 900 cows. So we have beef cows of our own, and I've done that before, but doing on that kind of scale was really interesting. You got to learn a lot of different cattle behaviors, because with 900 cows, you get a lot of different types of cows. But it was a really good group of guys to work with there, and to see how you just manage such a large herd. You know, processing days where we bring in 50 cows, well, processing days there, you're bringing a couple hundred cows at a time. Much more elaborate system, and it was a lot of fun to work there. So what we're planning to do here next year is we're planning to grow corn on this piece. We are breaking it up now, and what I ended up doing was the second pass, and it actually worked up a lot nicer than I had initially thought. We will hit this field again in spring, probably with some kind of vertical tillage, something that we can till a little bit faster to really just kind of finish off the top. But our plan is to grow corn here next year. If we were to turn this back into some kind of a hay field where we'd be cutting with disc binding, we'd probably have to do a little bit more tillage just to really level it off to get a nice level surface for the disc binder to run on. But with it being corn, we're not so worried about that. It will be decently smooth. I mean, you don't want it too rough for your guys going across there with the chopper and the trucks, but I think we'll get it pretty leveled off here. And then over winter, whatever sod clumps are still there will continue to decompose, and I think in spring, one pass of some tillage will be making a real nice field. But yeah, we will grow corn here, 85 acres of corn. So High Life, having all these cows, and you know, there's 900 cows, there's a lot of mouths to feed. They do need the hay as well. They were cutting hay on this piece. But what they're doing now is they approach farms in the area to see if guys want to rent some land here and there. And so I had a discussion with them, and yeah, they said this piece was available to rent. So the reason why they're renting it out is with the barns right next door, there is hog manure applied to this land. And just, you know, growing hay and grazing, there's definitely some nutrient removal, but especially grazing, you know, cows eat the grass, goes through the cow, they poop it back out, goes right back on the field. So they need to have a better way to remove nutrients. So they want people to grow crops in there, and I told them that my plan would be to grow corn for silage, you know, removing the whole plant, taking up a lot of nutrients and removing those nutrients right off the field. They like the sound of that. So yeah, it worked well for us. It's only 3 miles down the road, right off the main gravel road. So it's a nice short haul for the corn silage, and I think it worked out real well. So thank you, Matt. Matt's the guy I deal with over at High Life, so shout out to Matt. He didn't fall off. Thank you. Okay guys, that'll wrap it up for this video. Once again, if you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you already hadn't, share, tell your friends, tell your family about the channel, help me grow this thing, and until next time, have a good one.